Hi, I'm Dr. Walter Matwichuk, and I'm here to talk to you about the self-definitions that we create that hold ourselves back. I often hear people make statements like, I am, and then they finish it with, I am disabled, or I am no good, or I am bad or stupid. And these I am statements can really block them from making an effort to do things. And in doing things, we can learn to do things better. So I always encourage people to acknowledge their strengths and their weaknesses, but avoid global evaluations, which often lead to global devaluations. So a person might say, well, I am not doing this well. I sometimes do this poorly, and therefore I am no good. And that's a self-definition that will hold them back from practicing what they do poorly. When a person who has an emotional problem says, I am disabled, they very often hold themselves back by thinking that way. It would be better for them to acknowledge that they have certain emotional problems, but also that they can do more than they think they can, that they can work at managing their emotional problems, that they can do better if they establish goals and then try to improve how well they do things. So REBT is an optimistic therapy that directs people's attention away from their essence and more towards their actions. We argue that it's best for a person to see that we have aliveness, that life has no inherent meaning other than to avoid pain and to seek pleasure, and that we then seek pleasure in different ways through doing certain things, and that we can become a long-term pleasure seeker by learning to delay gratification, make an effort, practice what we don't do so well, and thereby learn to do better and experience pleasure as we improve at doing whatever it is that we're not particularly good at the present time. So I would encourage you to avoid I am statements and move towards I do this well, or I do that poorly, or I did that badly, or I could have done that better, or I will work to practice doing that better, rather than I'm no good. Because when we make these global evaluations, we hold ourselves back, we define ourselves, and I always encourage people to discipline their minds to keep their eye on their doings. Now, each week I hold a demonstration where I listen to people talk about a problem and I direct their attention to how they can do better in terms of thinking about it, how they can do better in terms of feeling differently, and then encourage them to practice thinking differently and doing differently as they face adversity. These demonstrations are at 9 a.m. each Saturday, and by watching them, you can begin to learn to spot your own self-defeating thinking and thereby begin to do self-therapy that will help you maximize the pleasure you experience in life and minimize the pain. These demonstrations are free to attend, but you have to write to me at rebtdoctor@gmail.com and request a link. I hope to see you on Saturday, but more importantly, I hope that you direct your focus on your doing rather than your essence, because by doing so, you will find that you will free yourself to practice what you don't do so well and thereby do better in the future.